Sometimes, 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 sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to relax and understand how God is working on and through you. Understand the truth may uncover someone's untruth, and vice versa. Understand that your thirst for truth may or will reveal some things within you that God is trying to bring out of you. Sometimes it's a need to understand that if you don't move when God says, then why should God immediately move when you ask Him to? Why? Because God will never break His promise. Yet how many times and how many promises have we forfeited? Sometimes you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and understand forever versus seasonal, temporary versus infinite. Sometimes living in the moment and knowing that you can push past the moment is a gift. And sometimes you have to know it's okay to leave someone behind that is stuck in the moment, that is toxic to the following moment, to the next moment, to the focused promise, and focus on the promises. And sometimes, sometime and people are not good enough to be in your presence. Sometimes people are stuck, whether they might be trying to stick you in the moment that God has forgiven and released you from, and vice versa as well. Sometimes it's just sometimes. Sometimes you have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to relax and understand how God is working on and through you. Understanding who you are seems to be the hardest task, for we are fast to post and watch, mad when someone likes on sight, and obviously never really pays much attention to what you feel is true content. Man, you better learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and push past those moments and leave people in the moment and rely on God, for the ultimate like is eternal and not in these moments. For sometimes these sometime people will all the time, in time, show you what time it is, show you what time it is, show you what time it is. Time's up and the world's so corrupt. We dog each other and pound pavement for position. We condition ourselves to sinful intent, justifying by sometimes feeling like we unjustly been misled, misguided, misinformed, mistreated, and mishandled. Sometimes we misuse each other. Sometimes we mislead our brothers. Sometimes you can't afford to blame the other because sometimes you don't pay attention to your own. Sometimes you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to relax and understand how God is working on and through you and let God. Philippians 2:13 says that, for it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for His good purpose. So be like Gail Ann and be purposeful. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understandings. Sometimes, well, all the time, we need to call it as God allows us to see it, that it's okay to leave sometime to people and who they are and what they represent exactly where they should be. Those that are stuck in moments that are toxic to the following moment, to the next moment, to the focused promise, and focus on those promises. And sometimes you should focus on, and most importantly, sometimes let your presence be the present that someone needed. Sometimes. Sometimes.